much for doing this interview for us.
You're welcome.
Can you please introduce yourself, what major you're studying here, and all that?
Well, my name's Victoria. I'm small animal science and I'm a minor in English.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm also small animal science and I'm not minoring.
Can you explain what LARP is?
Well, LARP is an acronym. It stands for Live Action Role Playing.
So it's pretty much like you kind of act out in terms of the character's personality, phobias, anything.
It's similar to what actors do, like that.
Method acting.
Yeah, you know how like they have to get into the role, see themselves as that character, act like that character, and that's really how these amazing actors produce such an amazing performance because they become that character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so how does LARP differ from cosplay?
So LARP differs from cosplay because in a cosplay setting you are wearing the costume of whatever character has already been created.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your character, someone else has created it. You've built your costume to mimic theirs. You can, at that point, almost become the character for the time being, but it's still not your character at the end of the day. LARP, you create your own character. You build their costume yourself if you choose to wear a costume. If not, you don't have to, and it is your intellectual property.
Okay. Are there different types of LARP?
There's a lot of people, like, LARPing got pretty famous and popular for the people that play Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
There's also people that do, like, kind of medieval-based LARPing, like, kind of like the Renaissance Fair, where they dress up like knights or mages.
And that's kind of what the TV show The Quest is based on, is that sort of LARPing. We don't do that.
Yeah.
We're too lazy for that stuff.
Then our LARPing is specifically because we are trying to write a book.
I first got into LARP when I was, I want to say in middle school, high school. It's a lot like actually when you were playing house when you were a little kid. I used to role play originally. It's pretty much the same thing as LARPing. You just type it all out on the computer, send it back and forth. And one day my friend and I were kind of looking at each other and going, I'm bored. I don't feel like writing it out. I'm too lazy for that. Can I just talk about it? And we just started LARPing from there. When we first started getting into LARPing, yeah, I was a little hesitant because of the stereotypes. I didn't want anyone to look at me like, crazy old woman, hides in her mom's basement, blah, blah, blah. And admittedly, the first time I told my mom that I was LARPing or RPing, she looked at me like, what? And I had to stop and go, wait, Mom, it's not what you think.
I officially started LARPing like my freshman year. I was friends with a senior who used to be the president of drama club. And one weekend she was bored and she was curious about trying out LARPing. We already befriended Nikki at this point, and Nikki gave us some heads up and we tried it out. And it was a fun way to spend like boring weekends. And when she graduated, me and Nikki just kind of continued the tradition. I never was really embarrassed because I don't really do it out in public. It's not like I'm gonna suddenly appear in the middle of campus wearing a giant red cloak or something and being all loud and obnoxious.
What kinds of people LARP?
It could be any type of person, really. There's really no basic type of person that does it.
Truthfully, it's like leans more to the people that are more into fantasy or like video games, stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be exclusive to them.
You probably know there's many stereotypes considering LARP. Could you explain some of them?
Most of the stereotypes are, for LARPing are the people that they're like the geeky men that live in their mom's basement.
I have to say those stereotypes mostly aren't true. Our one friend is this beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, gorgeous, intelligent girl, and she still LARPs with us. She's not a geeky old man hiding in his mom's basement.
So what exactly do you like about LARP?
Well, the reason why we like LARP and why we do it is we are interested in writing a book, and we want to have very three-dimensional characters. We want them to have flaws, have strong characteristics, and we want them to generally be likable. And the best way to make them three-dimensional is try to act them out. Try to figure out how they move, how they talk, what really makes them tick. The book is about magic kind of being in the normal human world when it's not supposed to be. There are these people known as mages. There's just only 5 per continent, and they're kind of like the sort of police. They regulate and they make sure that no magical creatures get into the normal side of the world, and they have a balance to protect. And there's only supposed to be 5 per continent, that there's a little accident happened, and now there's 10. And by having 10 people, it messes up the balance. So 5 of them are gonna have to die. So it's kind of like that little competition of who gets to live, who gets to survive, and like, are these mages really heroes or villains?
Yes. Are there any special outfits that you need to use or props that you use while you LARP?
We're really lazy and we don't really have the time for that. And well, with LARPing, you don't need to wear a costume. We personally do not wear costumes.
We have to switch between 3 different costumes in the span of like 10 minutes, because we'll go back and forth from character to character to character. And we'd have to constantly go, this one has a mustache, this one doesn't, this one has a mustache, this one doesn't.
And the easiest way is that we've learned to develop our voice to sound differently, and we've like learned how to say different things so you know which character is talking. And over time we've learned like which character moves, what character kind of, you can tell by the way someone's walking, like, oh, that person is obviously one of the girl characters, or that one's one of the guy characters.
It's almost like how you can kind of slowly develop, okay, I hear my friend's footsteps, it's this person. And it's very similar for the characters. You can tell by their body language, how they walk, which character it is. So we don't even need costumes.
As for props, from time to time, like especially when we're writing a fighting scene, like it's so hard to know like where someone exactly is aiming at. Like you can say, oh, someone stabbed you in the stomach.
There's a lot of places in a stomach where you can be stabbed.
So in a situation like that, like we might have like general idea of like how long the weapon is, because weapons can be like short like a dagger or long like a halberd, which is like a spear. So
If you could tell a message to people that would make them understand what LARP is, what would that message be?
I guess my message to people to tell them what LARP is would be that it's not something stereotyped by who you are, what you do. It's something that's fun, it's a relaxation. You get to escape your world for a little while and have someone else's world. And yes, the other person still has their own problems, but they're not your problems. You get to kind of experience what life will be like from a different side. It actually gives you a lot of appreciation for what other people have. Like you can have a character that really doesn't have enough food, and then you look at yourself and you go, why am I complaining about what the cat food tastes like? At least I have it.
My suggestion is that it really is that fun escape to go to, and if anyone's ever interested in writing, like it doesn't have to be a book, it could be like a script for a play or anything, just a school project, like I highly suggest it, because you learn so much about these characters. A lot of our book was written because when you're LARPing, you're kind of like, your mouth is on autopilot. You say things that, you know, you don't even register until 5 seconds later. And it's because of those moments, because you're really letting your character speak, you have such a greater insight and you have a better idea about that world, because these characters are coming to life. And if the way we see it, like if we can fall in love with our characters, like genuinely love them, then other people will have an easier time falling in love with them too.